time for our legal advice slot, and it is time to wish a very good morning for the first time to Caroline Doherty from Cahir and Company Solicitors. Caroline, good morning to you.
Good morning, Alan. Thanks for having me.
Thanks very much for
good
coming
morning to
in.
everyone.
So, divorce, I suppose, look, a big, serious topic. Caroline, why have you chosen that this morning?
I suppose divorce rates are on the rise in general. According to latest figures from the court services, almost 5,900 applications were made in 2023, continuing a trend of rising numbers following changes in the law that reduced the requirement for the separation period. Yet we still have one of the lowest divorce rates in Europe, but given the time of year, I suppose, after the winter months and Blue Monday, which was only yesterday, we would find an increase in inquiries regarding separation and in particular divorce at this particular time.
So that actually feeds into it, the kind of January kind of miserable period of the year that can play a part.
Exactly, and it's quite an emotional period in people's lives, and there's various financial and legal implications, and they might have given it some consideration over the winter period and now might be hoping to take that next step. And I suppose divorces are becoming a more regular part of modern family life, and I suppose clear planning and realistic expectations should be considered early on. So happy to answer any questions.
Okay, and look, plenty of questions on this. I suppose first off, Caroline, do couples, when they separate, do they have to go to court straight away?
No, not at all, Alan. In Ireland, many couples find solutions outside of court. You can use mediation, work with solicitors, or even come to an agreement on your own. Court, however, is really, it's the last step. If you can't reach an agreement, absolutely, you would need to eventually go to court if you wish to deal with maybe a certain asset or something like that.
Okay, property then, and look, it is unfortunate, I suppose, in divorce, all these material aspects come into it, but it is natural. How is property divided in a divorce, Caroline?
So in Ireland, it's not just a 50-50 split. That would be a common misconception amongst many. The courts really look at what's fair and ensure that both parties are properly provided for. Factors would include, say, each person's income, the length of the marriage, the needs of any children. There is a no-fault approach to divorce in Ireland, but subject to some exceptions, of course. But rather, it's all about fairness rather than just division in equal shares. So it's more nuanced and tailored to each individual situation, I suppose, Alan. Okay,
and look, I mentioned property. That is going to be a big part of considerations in any divorce, but of course the most important one is if there's a family there and the children. What about the children?
The children's best interests are always the primary focus. The court and parents look at arrangements that maintain stability, routine and the children's well-being. Usually parents would try to agree on custody and access outside of court, but if needed, then the court steps in to ensure the children's needs are met. So it's absolutely important to keep the children's stability in mind throughout.
Okay, going forward then, and particularly, I suppose, maybe these are important regardless of whether the children are, but maintenance payments. Will there be maintenance payments?
Yes, potentially. There are two types. There's child maintenance and spousal maintenance. Child maintenance is about making sure children are properly supported, and that's very common after separation and going into the divorce process. Spousal maintenance then is the support for a former husband or wife. It isn't automatic. It does depend on things like whether one person is financially dependent, how long the marriage lasted, and whether someone gave up work to care for the family, or where, let's say, for example, one party's career took a back seat to facilitate that of the other. It really depends on the situation. And the good thing is maintenance can be agreed privately, not just imposed by the court. Also, if circumstances change, say someone loses a job or retires, maintenance can always be reviewed, even after divorce if necessary. So that flexibility can be reassuring for some also.
Okay, now how the whole process, Caroline, I mean, how long does a divorce take in Ireland?
How long is a piece of string, Alan? It's much more straightforward than it used to be. As referred to at the outset, in general, you need to have been living apart for at least 2 out of the three previous years before applying for divorce. Living apart doesn't always mean living in separate houses. It can mean living separate lives under the same roof, which is important in the current climate with the housing and rental market crisis. If living apart under the one roof, the issue then becomes, do you act and present as a married couple? So if everything is agreed, children, money, property, a divorce can be relatively quick and low stress. So if there's conflict, however, it takes longer, costs more, which is why early advice can make such a difference and will ensure your settlement is fair, comprehensive and tailored to your specific needs.
Okay, Caroline, thank you very much. Some essential advice there in relation to divorce. Caroline Doherty from Cahir and Company Solicitors with us on Morning Focus.